Over the course of the last 7 years, I've purchased over 50 cars, from Toyota Yaris's to Mazdas, Hyundais, a GT500, a Maserati, a Navigator, a Tesla, and more. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the fundamental steps that I take in order to buy these cars, but more specifically, how I do it in a way which allows for me to own them for completely free. So, let's get started. But before we dive into that, I am excited to announce that this coming Sunday, August 25th, I have a new course that's being released called the Car Buying Masterclass. I have been making content here on social media for a very long time, and I post a lot of videos about my fleet, how I buy cars, when I get rid of them, how much money I make, and the overall cost of ownership. And I have noticed one common theme with these videos. People who are unfamiliar with my channel have a fundamental misunderstanding of how I buy cars and how much they actually cost me. While many people think that I am spending thousands and thousands of dollars per month on depreciation, the truth is, over the last 7 years and across the 50 vehicles that I've owned, my depreciation cost has been next to nothing. You see, people believe that depreciation is just a given cost of ownership, and that if you want to own a car, you're going to have depreciation. But I'm here to tell you that this isn't the case even with newer cars, and that there is a way to strategically buy cars at the right price, own them for a period of time, and then sell them for around the same price you bought them for, if not more. And so I developed the Car Buying Masterclass to teach you exactly how I do this. The Car Buying Masterclass is a full course teaching you the A to Z guide of buying cars in a strategic way, whether you're buying a fleet of vehicles or a single car for yourself or for your family. It'll teach you everything you need to know about how to find the right cars, how to define what a below market value deal is, how to do a super in-depth PPI, and how to negotiate a killer deal, as well as some of the pitfalls that you should avoid, like high interest rates, heavy depreciation, and unreliable cars. Now, the Car Buying Masterclass isn't out quite yet, but it will be August 25th, and I can't wait to see you there. Now, back to the video. Now, in this video, I want to talk about some of the pillars of the strategies that I use in order to find below market value deals and what I do in order to buy my cars, whether it's a GT500, a Tesla, or a Hyundai or Toyota. I'm not going to be diving into every single thing that you need to know, nor am I going to be talking about what a below market value deal is or how to find them. Instead, I'm going to be talking about the pillar steps that you need to take. So first is the question of where to buy cars. Now, I buy almost all of my cars on Facebook. Over the years, there's only been 2 scenarios where we've purchased a vehicle from a franchise dealership, and that was with our Maserati Ghibli, which we purchased from a Chevy dealership, and our Lincoln Navigator, which we purchased from an out-of-state, I believe, Chevy dealership. In these scenarios, we didn't specifically look for a dealership to buy these cars from. A dealership just happened to have what we were looking for at the right price. The best platform that I use in order to buy cars is Facebook. And the reason for this is because I think Facebook has an unmatched algorithm when it comes to Facebook Marketplace. If you go to cars.com or AutoTrader and you're looking for a specific car, you're going to have to go to cars.com, you're going to have to put in your zip code, put in the specific make and model, and then once it pulls up your searches, you're going to have to filter mileage, year, trim, color, all of the features that you want to look at. With Facebook Marketplace, you are going to have to do this exact same thing whenever you first start looking for a car, but Facebook begins to learn what you're looking for and it'll start pushing suggestions for you. If anybody has ever been on Facebook Marketplace, you've definitely witnessed this firsthand. There will be times where I will look for something like a bike or a piece of furniture on Facebook Marketplace, and then all of a sudden, all I'm seeing on Facebook Marketplace are bikes or furniture. So if you've looked at Facebook Marketplace for any amount of time for anything, you have seen this algorithm at work. And in my experience, what I have found in the context of cars is that if you put in what type of car you're looking to buy and you search that manually a couple of times, Facebook will then start knowing exactly what you're looking for, and it'll then push you really great cars and really great finds. And so it starts to do the heavy lifting for you. Not only that, but the fact that Facebook is integrated with Messenger and it's sort of an all-in-one system. There's a lot of inventory and there are a lot of great settings that you can play around with, like search radius. I'm not saying that you can't find a great car on AutoTrader or Cars.com or even Craigslist, but none of these other platforms deliver as consistently as Facebook does. Another huge tip that I have with finding below market value deals is to be consistent in your search for these cars. I get asked all the time how I find below market value deals, and I tell them, hey, I just look at Facebook Marketplace, I look consistently, and you would be surprised at how often people reach out to me and say, hey, I did exactly what you said, I looked at Facebook, but I'm just not finding anything. I guess my market just doesn't have cheap cars like Dallas. And my response is always, hey, I don't think you're looking hard enough. And then I ask for their information, where they're looking, and without fail, I can find below market value deals in their market as well. If you look at Facebook Marketplace for a couple of days and you find that you're not finding anything, there is a good chance that you just aren't looking often enough or hard enough enough. There is a lot of crap on Facebook Marketplace, which is why it gets a bit of a bad reputation. But just because there's a lot of crap doesn't mean there isn't a lot of gold either. And Facebook Marketplace is very literally like finding the needle in the haystack. You have to search and search and search until you find those cars that are worth buying. And I know that from the outside looking in, if you follow this channel or my vlog channel or me on Instagram or TikTok, it may seem as though I'm finding all of these great deals all the time, but what I don't show here on social media is how often I reach out to sellers or even go look at cars in person and I don't end up buying them because they're not good cars. It happens often. I make it a habit to look at Facebook Marketplace every single day. If there is a lull in my day, I will open Facebook Marketplace. If I am bored on the couch, I'll open Facebook Marketplace. Because most of the cars that I find that I end up buying are cars that I just come across whenever I do have one of these lulls. Good deals don't stay good deals forever. That's why they're good deals. And so if you want to find below market value deals on Facebook, you need to make sure to look at the marketplace often. You don't need to spend hours a day looking, but just pop open your phone 5 minutes at a time, multiple times per day. Another huge factor to my success in finding below market value deals is being willing to jump on a buy as soon as I see it, and also being willing to pay in cash. Most of the cars that I purchase are considered cash economical cars. They're cars that cost anywhere between $5,000 and $7,000. And I always make it a practice to have funds available to buy a car in cash if the right car comes along. And reaching out to a car seller, giving them a almost insultingly low offer and saying, hey, I can come with cash today. The temptation of not only getting cash, but also getting it today, like right now, ends up swaying a lot of car buyers that probably wouldn't have otherwise been swayed. If you find a car that you like and you think it's a good deal, I would not wait until the weekend or the next day or the next week to purchase that car. I would try to find a way to make that deal happen that night, whether you have to do it after work, whether you have to do it in the morning, whatever the case is. I remember years ago, whenever my husband HP worked at a dealership, we would very frequently go buy cars at 8, 9, sometimes 10 o'clock at night because that's the only time we could do it. Now we don't really have to do that because we have a much more flexible schedule, but we will still oftentimes drop what we're doing to go buy a car if it's a great deal. This is a crucial step of the process. Another crucial step of the process is to not be afraid to insult the seller. This is kind of negotiations 101. But anybody who buys things consistently below market value, whether that's a car, a collectible, a house, one thing that I've found that many of these people have in common is they give insultingly low offers. If a car is listed for $7,000, I'm going to offer $5,500. If a car is listed for $5,000, I'm going to offer $4,000. I am always going to offer significantly lower than whatever that person's selling the car for, and it's significantly below market value of what the car is actually worth. And I do this because often car sellers don't actually know what their car is worth, and when push comes to shove, if the car was that hot, it would have been sold already. And the worst thing that they can say is no. And as I mentioned earlier, having cash is important. And I know what you guys are thinking.
Well, Aubrey, not everybody has cash laying around.
And I recognize that that is true. And the cash play is going to be very different whether you're buying a cash car or a high-end car. And as I mentioned, having cash is a great tool to use in order to get discounted prices, but not everybody has the cash laying around. And so if you don't, you can still find ways to be really timely with the deal that you're looking to make. For example, with my husband's GT500, which we purchased for a below market value price, we actually found that car within an hour of them listing it, and we sent a deposit that same day to hold the car. We then had to go through the process of getting the financing, which was actually pretty difficult considering the price of the car, and this was my husband's first high-end, very expensive vehicle, and it took weeks to get that financing in place. But because of the fact that we had the deposit in and we jumped on the deal so incredibly quickly, we were able to get the deal for a below market value price despite the fact that we didn't use cash. Same goes for the Lincoln Navigator. We found it, we were very assertive with the deal, we were timely, we kept the ball rolling, and we were able to get that car for a good price as well. But truthfully, you're not going to find as good of a deals whenever you finance a vehicle versus when you pay cash. If you have cash to buy cars, that is when you're going to have the best deals possible, with the exception of a dealership that offers in-house financing. Cash is a much less important factor with the dealership with in-house financing. In fact, in some regards, it can actually be viewed as a hindrance, and it can actually cripple you from getting the best deals possible. But we're not going to dive into that in this video. So far, look at Facebook, look consistently, give an insultingly low offer, and use cash and be willing to come as soon as possible. The last pillar of the equation is to be confident and to come off as highly educated whenever you're actually doing your PPI. I don't care if you're a certified mechanic or a person who's never purchased a car in their life. If you are going to someone's location to view a car in order to purchase it, you need to enter that scenario as though you are the smartest car person that has ever walked the earth. I'm a big believer in faking it till you make it. And if you're looking to buy a car, you need to pretend like you know what you're doing, even if you don't. And better yet, do some research prior so that you actually sort of know what you're doing. Do a thorough PPI. Don't let the seller push you around, and come across as though you're the authority in that relationship between the buyer and the seller. You are the person who knows what they're talking about. You are the authority figure. We have in the past gotten such good deals on cars because whenever we go to do the PPI, I will do an inspection of the interior. My husband HP will do the exterior and the engine. And then basically at the end of the PPI and at the end of the test drive, we will present our findings to the seller, and we will typically have a laundry list of issues and how much those issues are going to cost to fix. We will then use this as a basis to give an even cheaper price on the car. And because of the fact that more often than not, these sellers don't know better, they end up taking us up on that offer. And if they don't, then they don't, and that's okay. But this is where some key fundamental belief systems come into play with buying cars. Number one is to be confident, as I mentioned a moment ago. Number two is to not be afraid of rejection. The worst that a car seller is going to do is tell you no. And number three is make sure to have a very clear boundary for yourself of what price you want this vehicle to be priced at in order to justify buying, and do not be afraid to walk away. If a car doesn't fit your parameters, whether because it's not nice enough, it has too high of mileage, it just has issues that you didn't expect, or it's not the right price, then you need to walk. One of the biggest factors of finding below market value deals consistently is being patient and waiting for the right deal, but it's also knowing when to walk away. And walking away is as important of a component to the car buying process as pulling the trigger and actually buying the car. Remember, if you're interested in checking out the car buying masterclass, then stay tuned for this Sunday, August 25th. And like always, you guys, if you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.